So we'll get started by talking about the abiotic factors of a desert ecosystem, the factors that are non-living, such as rocks, dust, that sort of thing. Also light from the sun, the temperature of a given area, and the water present in an ecosystem.
Here are 4 biotic factors in a desert ecosystem. They're biotic factors because they're living things. The first one is a tree, a palm tree. The second one is a bush. The third one is grass. And the last biotic factor is a lizard. This is in population of an ant species, and a population is when the group of same species live together.
This is a community of plants because there are many different species of plants living in this certain area. The habitat of this tree is the desert because that's where it lives and gets nutrients and water. The habitat of a bird is this nest because that's where it lives, eats, and lays its eggs. The habitat of bumblebees is the beehive because that's where it lives and makes its honey.
Okay, here we see some producers. They're producers because they produce their own energy from the light they get from the sun, energy and food. Here's a consumer. Consumers eat producers or other consumers to consume their energy, such as this cat.
In this video, competition has arisen between 2 birds of the same species. Because of the carelessness of someone, food was left on the ground. These 2 birds are competing to have the food to themselves. One of the birds prevails, while the other quietly flies away.
Here we see mutualism, a bee on a sunflower, because the bee pollinates the flower, and the flower provides the bee with nectar. This is commensalism, a cat under a shaded tree, because the cat gets the benefit of the shade, lower temperatures, and the tree isn't affected.
Here we have a good example of predation. In this image, the hedgehog is the predator while the beetle is its prey. The hedgehog is an omnivore that can eat both plants and animals, while beetles are a main source of prey for many organisms. The hedgehog feeds on its prey that is essentially defenseless. Here is a great example of a marine tidal ecosystem. This picture looks deserted of any life, but that is not the case. If the picture is zoomed into the rocks, a few crabs can be seen. Underneath the rock are many more. Unfortunately, some of the species in the water cannot be seen due to the inability to see through the water because of the waves. In this very area, though, live countless minnows, angelfish, and some other bigger fish. Abiotic factors that make up the habitat of these organisms include the water and the rocks. Salt water is considered to be a renewable resource. This does not take away the fact that it shouldn't be wasted, but it can be replaced naturally and be used again.
Electricity is a non-renewable resource because once it is used up, it cannot be reused, it must be regenerated. Neem tree is a type of invasive species in Saudi Arabia because it was brought to Saudi and it's not original.
So here we have factors that limit a population. We see here birds all drinking from the same pool. If you imagine a bigger population, you can imagine more competition for the resource of water, which could limit a population. Here we also see a fence surrounding this area. If you imagine the enclosed area as the amount of available space the birds have, then you can think of available space as another limiting factor. If the population becomes too large, there won't be enough space for all the organisms to survive.
This is an example of a plant disease because partially part of the flower is dying and the plant is dying due to bug attacks or parasites.
The burning of fossil fuels in factories such as this one can have a great impact on the greenhouse effect. They emit a great amount of CO2, which, as you have learned before, leads to the heating of Earth and global warming.
We're going to be talking about 5 different ways to protect the environment. The first one is to use recycling bins. The second one is to use recyclable cups, and that will help us prevent plastic pollution. Another factor is to turn off lights to save electricity. The next way is to close water taps so we don't waste water. And the last is to use recyclable bags, again, not to have plastic pollution.
There are many instances in which humans are caught doing actions which affect the environment. Number 1. Chargers and cords are plugged in even though laptops or cameras are fully charged. This wastes electricity. Number 2. People drop materials such as garbage on the ground and must be thrown away or recycled. This causes pollution. Number 3. People tend to leave water or taps open so water gets wasted, and this is harmful to the environment. Number 4. Due to human activities, many buildings are being built and trees are cut down, which removes habitats for certain species, causing them to die. Number 5. Lights are turned on always during the day when it is not needed in the morning. This causes another waste of light. There are many ways in which government is trying to help save the ecosystem. Number 1. They are building recycling stations to recycle materials. Number 2. They're using solar power and solar energy and not wasting electricity. Number 3. They're using buses to go around to malls and campuses so cars are not used a lot and a lot of exhaust is not put out into the air for air pollution.